a similar occasion. But on other occasions, there's been a lot of conclusion jumping, and a lot of the conclusion jumping has been wrong. Now, there is a sort of center of gravity building around the belief that this is the work somehow, some way, of Osama bin Laden and his organization. Give us some perspective on that.
Certainly, the Osama bin Laden organization would have to be included in any short list of suspects, but it is really too early to jump to any conclusions. Keep in mind that it has been less than 6 hours since the first attack. Now, clearly, in terms of the enormity of the attack, the kind of an organization that would be required, the resources that would be required to carry this out, the style of the attack, that is consistent with some of the modus operandi that we've seen come out of the Middle East in the past. But let's wait for the evidence to take us to the conclusion as to who is responsible. Right now we know what has happened. It will take some hours, some days, potentially even some weeks to figure out who did it and exactly why they did it, if they needed a why.
Brian Jenkins in Los Angeles from the RAND Corporation. Scott Pelley is in Lower Manhattan. Scott?
Dan, thank you, Officer. Dan, I've made it down nearly to the base of the World Trade Center. I can see the building here. It is... Dan, it's very difficult to describe. What I see left of one of the World Trade Center towers looks to be about 10 or 15 stories tall. There is black smoke rising over the hulk, the sun behind it. Police officers are moving. The smoke is coming out. There's a building there are two buildings next to the World Trade Center. Both of them are involved in fire. There's fire shooting out of the windows of those two buildings. Large pieces of glass and pieces of these buildings to the street. Dan, the scene here on West Broadway is astonishing. New York City traffic was stopped and incinerated right here in the street. I see a number of New York City police cars that were obviously the first responders to the catastrophe that have been blasted to pieces, thrown over on their sides, and burned. There are a number of U.S. postal vehicles in the street that have literally, Dan, just melted. U.S. postal trucks that have melted in the street. There is a large bus, could be a city bus, might be a kind of a Greyhound bus. Impossible to tell because it has been completely burned away, and is sitting just in the middle of West Broadway. As I reported to you earlier, the street is thick with several inches of muck that is made of construction material and files and paperwork, all sorts of things that were in the World Trade Center building. But, Dan, the site of the building itself, the site of the World Trade Center tower that I can see here is a hulk about 15
Good afternoon, everyone.
tall.
I'm Kim Kerrigan here in the WBZ4 newsroom. We want to update you now. This is a press conference taking place from Massport. Let's listen in.
Can you hear me now?
This is Joe Lawless
Test.
from
1, 2, 3.
Massport.
Can you hear me?
Again, he's about to update us on the situation at Logan Airport.
Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Lawless. I'm the Director of Public Safety of the Massachusetts Port Authority. I want to talk a little about what's going on currently here at Logan Airport. Our top priorities, first and foremost, are the families, the needs of those families, and the safety and security of everyone who works and travels through this airport. We have set up a family assistance center at the Hilton Hotel to receive families who had victims on those two aircraft that we'll talk about later on. At the Family Assistance Center, Massport is working in conjunction with the American Red Cross to provide spiritual, emotional care to those families. There's also a presence of the airlines, clergy, and emergency medical support. Again, I'm going to ask the assistance, and I want to thank you for your assistance of the media for publicizing those numbers that we've put up for families to call. Again, the Massport number is area code 617-568-3100. The American Airlines number is 800-245-0999. And United Airlines, 800-932-8555. And those numbers are for family members who may think they have had loved ones on board those aircraft. Currently, we're urging all people within the airport to leave the airport until further notice. The airport will remain closed until we receive some directives from the FAA, and we feel that we can reopen the airport. We feel it's in the best interest of public safety for those passengers to leave right now. For people who don't live in the Boston area and can't get accommodations, Massport is taking care of those stranded passengers, and we're going to be providing food and assistance, cots for those people at one of our facilities in South Boston on the Fish Pier. As of between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m. this morning, there are approximately 220 aircraft movements at Logan Airport. 106 of those were departures, 114 were arrivals. And there are only 2 aircraft that have not been accounted for. That's number 1, American Airlines, flight number 11, departed Boston at 7:59 en route to Los Angeles. And the best information available to us right now, there were 81 passengers on board and 11 crew members. Shortly thereafter at 8:14 a.m., United Airlines, flight number 175, departed Boston, 8:14, 56 passengers and 9 crew members. And that was en route to LA as well. So I just want to, again, reassert our priorities. Our priorities are to provide for the needs of families and to make sure we have a safe and secure airport for our employees and everyone using our airport. I'll take a few questions.
So who was it that sees to it at the checkpoints? Some of them might or could be a hijacker.
It's a system that we have in place where there are various security responsibilities shared by the airport and by the air carriers under the direction of the FAA. The actual operation of the security checkpoint is an airline responsibility.
Any possibility that alleged hijackers got on board the airplane from outside the terminal, from the tarmac or from an outside ramp?
So it's an investigation that's ongoing right now. We're working with the FBI. The FBI is the lead agency investigating this right now. Massport, the Massachusetts State Police are working closely with the FBI to make a determination on the investigation.
When was the airport aware that, in fact, hijackings had occurred? Were they aware that hijackings had occurred prior to the planes actually being driven into the World Trade Center? Or what exactly was Massport aware, or were authorities aware that these planes were hijacked?
The airport was not made aware of any hijacking.
At any time?
In this short period of time you're talking about, no.
Was the airport aware, Joe, that the planes had veered off course at all?
No, the airport was not.
When was the last time that Massport conducted a full security check of all the terminals?
We're constantly evaluating our systems, our security systems, looking at them on a regular basis.
Have there recently had any cause for concern that there may be some security issues?
No, I want to say that we have a very high security standard here. We consider ourselves as secure, if not more secure, than any other airport in the United States.
Obviously, you have to be stunned by this like everybody else. What's your reaction? We work so hard to secure airports
I'm shocked like everyone else is.
Do you know whether it was these two planes which hit the World Trade Center? Or do you know where these planes went down if they didn't?
Based upon the information we have at hand, we believe they were involved in the incident at the World Trade Center.
Both of them.
Based upon the information that we have right now.
Do you know of any airlines being under any unusual security alerts in the past couple of weeks?
No, I really can't discuss anything that may be relevant to the investigation.
Were the airplanes in touch with Trayvon or any other facility on the way out? What do you know about that? Was it a normal departure? Is it immediate off?
Again, based on the knowledge that I have right now available to me, everything seemed normal when they left Logan.
Joe, are both flight crews out of Boston? I know we've been told that Flight 11 and 9 flight crews, the flight attendants were from Boston.
I don't know about the American Airlines. I mean, excuse me. I'm not sure about the base of the United Airlines crew.
But
I believe there were members of the American crew that were from Boston area.
Do you know if both those flights, the American and United, originated in Boston?
Were the planes here this morning?
Were the planes here?
Overnight?
Did the planes start here or they were coming?
I believe they were overnight. I don't have that information, but I do believe they're here overnight.
And where did they arrive from?
I don't have that information. Well, I can't really go into what our security measures are, but we always keep a high level of security here at Logan Airport.
Who's in charge of the security for the ground personnel at is that airlines or is that the airport? People who screens the ground personnel, the baggage handlers, things like that.
That's an area that the ground handlers work for the airline.
how long will the airport remain closed?
We're not sure right now. We're in close communication with the FBI and the FAA, and Massport will be making a determination at some point in time. But right now, until further notice, the airport's going to remain closed.
Where is the investigation? Have you started to gather people that were here this morning? Whether you segregated them, separated them, where do you stand?
I can only just mention briefly, since we're not doing the investigation, the FBI, along with the state police, are doing the investigation. Just like any other investigation, they'd pull potential witnesses in and speak to those witnesses.
Have you taken those people before you closed the airport and you have people already?
Yeah, the investigation is well underway.
Boston closed the terminals after or evacuating, I believe, most of the personnel out.
We made an immediate decision to close the security checkpoints and move people out beyond the security checkpoints. When it was determined that the airport would be closed indefinitely, then we made the decision to urge people to leave the airport.
Joe, at what point does Boston Tower turn over the aircraft?
That's an FAA issue. I don't have specifics on that. No, I can tell you it goes from Boston Tower to Boston Center location, then it goes to another location after that. Again, I don't have the information on that.
A short while ago, a military airplane was spotted flying over this airport. Are there military flights going in and out now with investigators, or what is the purpose of those flights?
The airport's closed right now, except for a special request. We haven't had any military aircraft land at Logan. Again, if it is, it's being handled by another agency.
Do you know why F-15 would have flown over this airport about 20 minutes ago?
No.
Where were the flights that were stranded in the air when the airport was shut down? Where have they been diverted?
All the flights that were diverted, they have gone to other airports. I don't have a list of which airports they went to.
In this country or in Canada?
I believe a combination of both. I can't say that for sure, though.
How likely is it that there was a security breach at this airport?
Again, I can't comment on that. The investigation is underway.
Joe, you keep, in this interface between the airlines and Massport on the checkpoint, does somebody keep records on incidents where people have are arrested or things are confiscated, so there's a recent way of tracking, make sure some security breaches or efforts to breach security?
Yeah, we meet all the requirements that are required by us, the FAA, when it comes to responding to security checkpoints. maintaining records and so forth.